Hi, I'm Dr. Jeff with DebtFreeDR.com. While I was in dental school way back when, I thought being rich looked a whole lot different than it really was. Most Americans, especially the high income earner, they really have it all wrong regarding what wealth actually is. No, wealth does not equal income, even though many of us think that it does. So I know too many doctors and dentists and other high income earners, they're making a great living, but unfortunately they spend it all and then some. They're actually failing themselves by not focusing on wealth accumulation. Wealth is what you accumulate and not what you spend. This is the number one reason why so many high income earners have very little to show for it. So let me break you in a little bit on a little secret. This is how most doctors that I talk to on a weekly basis, they think like this about money. Man, I hope I never run out in retirement. I hope I'm saving enough. Man, you know what, Jeff? I'm in too much debt and I just spend too much. We spend too much every month. I'll never retire early. Or the person that's really scary, that's actually facing burnout, whether they know it or not, they think like this: you know what? I'm going to be stuck in this career my entire life, whether I like to or not. There's no way I can get out. So if you're having any of these types of thoughts, the first step in succeeding in the financial world, it really starts with how you currently think about money. You first need to acquire a mindset that's going to help you attract money, manage it, and multiply it. So for me and many others, Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is one of the best ones that can really help with this mindset. It certainly helped me as well. So he teaches that most of us learn about money where? Growing up from our parents, maybe from a coach, teacher, something like that. And what have we always been told to do, or what do we sometimes tell our kids to do? I catch myself saying this sometimes to my kids too. Hey, boys, you need to stay in school and study hard, right? Except what? What's not taught in school? Money. And this is probably the reason why how really smart people, physicians, dentists, chiropractors, attorneys, yes, attorneys too, that they actually struggle financially their entire lives. They're only been taught by the people they grew up with. What if you came up from a poor middle class family? Then what? What are you taught about money? So in the book, there's really six main wealth building lessons. But what I wanted to go through is pull out the three main ones that I think would best benefit you. All right, let's get started. The first one, and more than likely you've probably seen this or heard this, but it is so impactful. I want to go over it again just briefly with you because it's one of the most profound lessons in the book, but it doesn't have anything to do with about how to make money or how to get rich or anything like that. It's all about where our income comes from. It's the cash flow quadrant. All right. So he's broken this diagram down into four different quadrants. And if you're an employee, you have a job. If you're self-employed, like myself and many other physicians and dentists that I know, you own a job. If you're a business owner, you own a system and people work for you. And if you're an investor, your money works for you. So the book teaches that being on this left side over here, this is more set up for the middle class or poor. And then on the right side, this is for the rich or wealthy. So let me break this down a little bit more in detail for you. So first is the employee. Most new doctors, they complete their training and a lot of times they immediately go to work for someone or hospital, clinic, instead of for themselves, because as you probably know, and I know, that starting a practice from scratch is very expensive. I did it back in, about 15, 16 years ago, and I can't imagine doing it now because of how expensive everything is. Also, remember, we get out in a huge amount of student loan debt typically. So this is just another reason why many of them choose to become an employee. Now, you have to remember, If you're an employee, you must work more hours, longer hours, get a different shift, get second shift, third shift, and continue to trade your time for your money if you want a higher income. All right. Moving on to the self-employed, which again, this is myself included. We feel that we're in a better situation than an employee, but you know what? After it's all said and done, we're still in the same boat as the old employee, trading our time for money. So if you own your business, actually in reality, your business owns you. Also, on this side, this left side, Kiyosaki teaches that the employee and the self-employed person is going to pay the most in taxes. Let's move on to the business owner. What I like about this category is these people, they can take off, they can take extended vacations, and guess what? They can still make money. And they don't have to actively work to earn any income. Why is that? Well, it's mainly because they run a system that produces income independent of their time. So their employees typically are the ones that are putting in the time at work, allowing the owner to delegate and to outsource responsibilities to others. I have a friend of mine here in town that he owns a medical supply company. And to be honest with you, I've always been very envious of him and his family and his lifestyle because he can take off months at a time and travel. And they just actually bought a second home out west in the mountains, which we love doing that as well in the summer. And they spend, a good portion of the summer there. He's able to do that again because he's in this business owner category. Most of the doctors I know, they can't do that. So moving right along to the investor, um, these people over here again are what Kiyosaki calls the rich category. And in contrast to the left side, the business owner and the investor, they pay much less in taxes than the employed and self-employed. And on this side is where true financial freedom is found. Investors, they actually own assets that make money for them. So this is somebody who's actually earned money, who's actually earned active income in one of the other quadrants. Maybe you're a physician at a clinic, you're a dentist that works in a group, whatever. So you're in these other quadrants, you're making money, you're making active income, but you start acquiring assets, which it starts to put you over into the investor category, which is actually where we're actually headed at this time. And this is why I'm teaching this, because the more you make as an employee or a self-employed person, the more you can purchase assets that are going to make you money to eventually get you on this right side for financial freedom. So the investor, again, they purchase things such as real estate to generate cash flow. So what's really cool about this is reaching this stage really makes working or practicing or whatever you do so much more enjoyable, because you're doing something, you're working because you want to, and not because you have to. All right, moving on to number two, and that is assets make you money. Too many doctors think they're rich because they have really expensive cars, they live in upscale neighborhoods. But unfortunately, that's one of the main reasons why they never grow any wealth. Cars and, in my opinion, even houses, unless you're paying rent, they're liabilities. Remember, rich people acquire assets, whereas the poor and middle class, they acquire liabilities, but they think those liabilities are assets. So an easy way to think about this is assets put money in our pockets, whereas liabilities take money out of our pockets. Now, here's what the cash flow pattern of the poor, somebody in the poor and the middle class looks like, okay? They go to work, they go to their job, money comes in, they get a paycheck, and it immediately goes out to cover the expenses of their liabilities. Perfect example is a new car. What happens when we buy one? We're so excited. We have this new car, we have this new car smell, but unfortunately, we end up paying for it for years. Again, make the money, it comes in, we pay the liability, we pay the car note, we pay the credit card, we finance the vacation, whatever. Goes to the expense, it goes right back out. All right. In contrast, let's look at the cash flow pattern of somebody that's wealthy, how it flows. So their assets, whether it's real estate, stocks, whatever, it creates income, which goes right back to the person. So really, theoretically, they could have their assets pay for the liabilities. You ever thought about that? That's a cool way to think about and think about transitioning to how you want to spend your life as you get older. Kiyosaki recommends investing in real estate, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, small businesses, as they all produce income they can appreciate or do both. So all of these assets, they typically have a positive return along with positive cash flow. And again, he's like me. He's really big into purchasing and acquiring real estate assets, which again, it provides cash flow and it appreciates the longer that you hold it. All right, last but not least is the scarcity and abundance mindset. And Kiyosaki is all about avoiding this scarcity mindset, which is something that I've really had to struggle with early on in my life because of some things that happened. And this actually came from the late Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So somebody with the scarcity mindset, they only see life as only having so much, as there were only one pie out there to go around. And if somebody were to come along and to steal a piece of their pie, it would mean less for everybody else. So those that have this mindset, they never feel that their own personal pie can ever be grown. And the only way it can grow is by what? By actually going and taking from somebody else. So people with the scarcity mindset, they often have the following thoughts. They think that they must hoard their resources because, again, there's only so much to go around. They have an extreme, extreme fear of changing anything in their life. And they will only stoop down to help others only if they think that they can receive something in return. Needless to say, those with this type of mindset are all about serving their interest only, no matter the cost. All right. The complete opposite of the scarcity mindset is the abundance mindset. And this is where you realize that, you know what, the pie can actually grow and that there's more than enough to go around, kind of like Willy Wonka's, candy factory or whatever. There's just like candy everywhere, chocolate river, whatever. It's just unbelievable. That, to me, that's like going from the scarcity to the abundance mindset. And people with the ability to think long term versus short term, they're actually using this abundance mindset. They realize that just because you don't have something now doesn't mean you can't have it later. And using this mindset allows them to think that, you know what, everybody can become wealthy and there are no limits to your income. So hopefully now you realize that by using these 3 main lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this is really how rich people obtain their wealth. And if any of this inspired you and you want to improve your chances, your financial situation, if you want to start making some substantial changes in the way that you think about money, I've actually put together a guide on how to start this process at debtfreedr.com/free guide. And again, if you have somebody out there that you think could benefit from this video, feel free to share this with them and subscribe today. I'm Dr. Jeff with debtfreedr.com. Take care.